Shlamesi Ume, and I'll be chairing tonight's meeting. If I lose connection and cannot, Councillor Bora One will take over for me. Before we begin, there are some housekeeping points to cover. This meeting is being broadcast live on YouTube channel. By taking part, you are consenting to be recorded. Please, can others introduce themselves before speaking for the first time, and would everyone please use their microphone? Let's proceed to the agenda. I move to item 1 on our agenda. Apologies for absence. No apologies was received. Item 2, declaration of interests. I would like to declare a non-pecuniary interest on item 3. When I served as mayor of Hammersmith and Fulham from 2014 to 2017, I have been invited to attend events at the Hurlingham Club on 2 occasions, and during my mayoral years, I also used the venue for fundraising purposes. No payment was made to use on this premises. I have considered my position and I can confirm that I am not conflicted. Therefore, I will be participating in tonight's hearing. Item 3, Hurlingham Club, Regley Gardens, London, SW6 3PR. I would like everybody participating to introduce yourself as I call on you. We should have with us, I call your first name, Mr. Neil.
Good evening, Chair. Present. Thank you.
Thank you. We have Piers.
Yes, good evening.
Thank you. We have Danny.
Good evening. Nice to meet you.
Thank you. We have Victoria.
Good evening, everyone.
Thank you. We have Richard.
Good evening, Chair.
Thank you so much. We have Neil Gardner. That is our interim licensing officer.
Oh, good evening, Chair. Yes, present.
Sean, you've got 2 Neils on the line. I wasn't quite
No,
sure
that's
which Neil
why
you're
I
cooking,
said
but...
Gardner. That's why I said Gardner. And Neil, I can't see you. I can't see your face, Neil Gardner.
Yeah, I'm here, present. I'm here, Chair. Sorry, present.
Okay. We have Gerta, our legal advisor.
Present. Good evening, Chair.
Thank you. Objecting, we have no none in attendance. So procedure, before we consider the application today, may I confirm that in addition to the main agenda, supplementary agenda A was published on 19th February and supplementary agenda B was published on 23rd of February 2026. Supplementary agenda C was published on 24th February 2026. I'll quickly explain the procedure the committee will follow. We will hear from the following. The licensing officer will introduce the application, usually objectors, finally the applicant. Usually, each party will address the committee for a maximum of 5 minutes. Following the presentation by all parties, the committee may ask questions of any party or other person present at the hearing, except committee members. No party has the right to ask questions of any other party at any time during hearing. Following the presentation and questioning, each party will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to sum up their case or representation. The committee will then retire. Upon its return, I will announce committee's decision. First, can we have a presenting officer? Can we have Neil Gardner, licensing officer, to introduce the application?
Thank you, Chair. On the 16th of December 25, the agent for the applicant submitted a timed premise licence on behalf of the Hurlingham Club, Ranelagh Gardens, London, SW6 3PR. A copy of the application form and plan can be seen at Appendix 1, which is page 13 of your agenda pack. The current premise licences can be seen at Appendix 2, which is page 38 of your pack. A copy of the 2 residential representations can be seen at Appendix 3, which is page 62. Then if we move on to the supplementary agenda items, A, pages 3 to 6 contain the applicant's further written submissions. Supplementary agenda item B, pages 3 to 4, contains the detail of the neighbouring licensed premises. And finally, supplementary agenda C, contains the current plans of the existing premise licenses, which is page 3 to 6. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Now, there are no objectors in attendance, and can I ask our officer, were the objectors able to receive the note we got today on 23rd? So, and any reason why they were not able to turn up? I know you might not know, but we need to ask.
Yes, Chair, the notice of hearing was sent out. I've had correspondence with one of the ladies, and she's expressed no interest to attend the meeting this evening. The gentleman representative has not been in any correspondence whatsoever.
So we take it that they receive the last agenda notes that you sent out.
Yes.
Okay. In that case, we can have the ask the applicant, Daniel McKenna, the solicitor. You have 5 minutes to explain why you want to have. We are here. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair, and good evening. I'm going to quickly explain 4 things. Firstly, why we say this application is unusual. Secondly, I'm going to touch upon the experience of the applicant and the protective measures we have in place. Thirdly, I'm just going to confirm the amendments we've made to the application and the indirect effect of those amendments. Then finally, I'm going to quickly touch upon those 2 representations. So first of all, why is this application unusual? And this really is stating the obvious, but for the record, it's unusual because it's an application for a one-off event for invited guests only. Now, of course, most licenses, Chair, as you'll be aware, are granted for an indefinite term. So as a licensing subcommittee, normally you have to consider the long-term risk of licensing objectives, not just in respect of a grant of the application to the applicant before you, but also the potential successor and title because the licenses can be transferred. That's not the case here, so there's no risk of sustained concerns. With it being a guest list only event, we say there's an extra layer of accountability because with a guest list only, the risk of bad behaviour is reduced as the attendees can be held accountable for their actions. In other words, they can't just drift off into the night, their identities are known and action can be taken if there is any rule breaking, law breaking or antisocial behaviour. So that's what makes it unusual. In terms of the experience of the applicant, the measures in place. Now, whilst we're applying for a standalone licence here, as you well know, you've just confirmed you've been to some of them. There are hundreds of events every year of the Hammersmith Club, and Victoria, Danny and Piers have years of experience of overseeing these events in a controlled and professional way. Now, the organisation of these events, it takes place over many months. We need to ensure the wider community is not disturbed, and that's of utmost importance to Victoria. And Chair, I won't ask her to address you now, but if you have any specific queries, want to know more, she is here to explain if you have queries. Now, of course, whilst the final planning of this event is, of course, subject to licensing, the conditions proffered with the application in respect of likes of door supervisors, policies, noise assessments, etc., they're at pages 35, 36 and 37 of the committee report. Now, Chair, they're not the extent of the controls we're going to put in place. That is the bare minimum. And given the higher nature of the event, the staff to guest ratio alone is going to be on a different scale to what you would normally see. For example, we're looking at having 10 traffic marshals to ensure that guests can leave the event without delay, and 36 hosts solely responsible for guest logistics. We've also instructed an independent acoustic expert, Mr. Richard Vivian, and you'll see his face has just popped up now. He's with you today if you have any queries in respect of public nuisance, and his report is in the supplemental bundle. crucially, we've committed that Mr. Vivian will be present throughout the event and will guide and intervenes if he sees, or more probably hears or records anything which he believes has potential to be public nuisance. He is the ultimate arbiter and can say no and pull the plug if need be. Now, moving on to the amendments to the application, you'll see these in our written submissions. There's only one amendment, but it's a crucial one. We really have cut back the hours sought for the licensable activities and also the opening times. And we did this following the 2 representations received by the local residents. Now, the cutting back of the events will have a further knock-on effect because the fashion brand, which will be hosting the event with us, they have actually hired a further venue in the West End for later in the evening. And therefore, we anticipate a more gradual dispersal that will have people leaving from approximately 21:30, 9:30 p.m, with people being taken away to the West End by way of chauffeur and taxi. So there's no risk of a normal event having guests leaving and wandering, trying to find the tube station, trying to find an Uber, trying to find a black cab. That won't happen here. Finally, in respect to the representations, we're very pleased to have no representations from statutory authorities. If there are concerns with public nuisance, we'd have a rep from environmental health. If there's concerns with crime and disorder, we'd have a rep from Met Police. We haven't. We obviously do get to have the 2 reps. The reason why we're here is because of them. We have tried to engage. You'll see in our written submissions, we have reached out, and Mr. Gunn has been very helpful, as you just heard, trying to contact them. But unfortunately, they were not responsive and are not here today. So, Chair, with the 2 residents not being here, I'm not sure there's much more I can say because it's all set up in the written representation. So, Chair, I'll leave it there, but also we're happy to answer any queries your colleagues might have.
Well, can I ask committee members, each one to ask questions on issues went prevention of crime and disorder, public safety, prevention of crime or public nuisance, protection of children from harm. So can I ask committee members if they have any questions? Oh, okay. Councillor Stanton, yeah?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, everybody. It's a question for the applicant, really, just for clarification. Other than the numbers, because your existing license, I think, is for 1,000, is that right? Have I read that correctly? Or 1,200 when seated?
Yeah, slightly over.
Yeah, there's that. With the change in the terminal hour, the applications that you have made effectively have reduced because you already have a license for performance for play, both indoors and outdoors. You no longer require a late night refreshment license at all. And you're, let's say, putting aside the difference in numbers, the sale of alcohol on and off the premises is already covered by the existing license. And so essentially what you are asking for here is, and I know there are variations on the 3 things I'm about to say, which actually make the numbers larger, but you're asking to add outdoors to dance, film and music, both live and recorded. That's what this application boils down to, is the addition of outdoors, performance of dance, performance of film and performance of music, either recorded or live.
Well, we do, Chair, we do obviously have the deregulation as well pursuant to the Live Music Act outside. I mean, it's predominantly with those hours, with the numbers we're actually seeking to increase.
Yeah, no, okay, fine. I just wanted to make sure that, say, because there's quite a lot of items that have been requested, but that's literally pretty much what it boils down to, just so I can understand in my own head.
Yes, this November falls slightly outside the norm.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, thank you. Can you, one of the, I know that the objectors aren't here, but one of the objections that was made with regards to set up and set down of the event. Can you just explain to us how that is being handled in a way of sort of ameliorating the disturbance to residents?
Yes, I mean, I think it's probably, I mean, I can answer that, but Piers, do you want to talk in a bit more detail about that? I've nominated you, Piers. By all means, nominate Victoria or Danny.
Neil, I certainly can. Hello, everyone. Hello, Dominic. Yes, I'm just for background. I'm the CFO of the club, and I've been kind of leading most of the negotiations and the discussions with the partner we're hosting this event with. And yet they are very professional. They are engaging very professional suppliers, and we will be very carefully managing that whole build process within the kind of normal constraints. As some of you may know, we host a big tennis event also in June, so we're quite used to managing complex construction, managing truck movements and that kind of thing, so we don't disturb residents, and we work within normal hours.
Thank you. Yeah. Chair, I don't think I have any further questions actually at the moment. I may do, but not at this point in time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Councillor. And we have Councillor Borokwan.
Thank you, Chair. With regards to the numbers, obviously it's the application is for up to 1,500. Do you know whether that's expected, as in terms of like the invite and the catering arrangements? So, because it sounds like a lot, but I know that sometimes these events, they either sort of send out that number, but you're not expecting everyone to attend. So do you have any knowledge of the sort of firm RSVP expectations?
Councillor, we don't want to be presumptuous and start actually sending out save the dates before you have a license. I think that's smacks of arrogance. So at the moment we haven't, but subject to decision today, we're going to send out the save the dates and then the invites. We've asked for 1,500 because that will be the absolute maximum. In reality, the number will be reduced.
Okay. With the transport, I think the if there were to be 1,500, obviously where you have the people sort of arriving all together and so on, and that can sort of be mitigated. But obviously you can't prevent people leaving during the evening, and there may be sort of Ubers and so on, sort of people making their own arrangements as that happens. Is there a plan in place for that? Because if there were 1,500, and say even if it was sort of like 200 and 300 people sort of during the evening leaving prior to the sort of arranged transportation, that could be sort of significantly disruptive to the area. So you said that you had traffic marshals and so on. So could you just explain how that will be handled?
Yes, Councillor, and usually we're actually providing all the transport for our guests. It sounds like an amazing event. So when someone wants to leave, the traffic marshal will ask them to wait on site, and then the appropriate transport, whether it be a small van or a car, will actually come from its holding station to the club and then leave. So there won't be lots of queues of people. It will be actually marshalled. I mean, Piers, you can all. I know you've lived and breathed this. You can come in if you like. I'm sure. I was going to say. I'm sure you're sick of thinking about this by now. But
yeah, I mean, Chair and Councillor, if I can just add, to go back a little bit, we believe the actual number of guests will be 1,200. As Neil said, we can't be exact. We can't know exactly how many people will accept the invitation, but it's more like 1,200. On arrival, I think, as you may have seen in the application, most people will be arriving by boat.
By boat, yeah.
So that's easy. And as Neil had just said, the departure will be staggered, and we and the client are organising transport for every guest. So they will not be just wandering out the street trying to get an Uber. And there are certain categories of guests. So some will have chauffeur-driven cars, some will have shared taxis, some will have minibuses. So, and we're using the club, we're using the not the street, inside the club premises to manage all of that. So that and by a specific transport management company whose only job is to do that.
Okay, so it sounds like you'll be in control of all the transport of guests to and fro on the night.
Correct.
Okay, and then my last question at the moment is about the kind of audience and the crowd, because I think that affects really the kind of music. Because even a high-end fashion brand event could still be sort of loud music with a sort of pumping bass and that kind of stuff. And I think that will affect if it's, you say summer party, but these days, particularly with sort of very trendy fashion brands, that can be different to the kind of event and music that we normally associate with the Hurlingham Club. So do you have any idea, without telling me the details of the brand? I'm not asking you to reveal that, but do you know the kind of mood and atmosphere and the audience, maybe not necessarily age, but is it a sort of rave club style event? Is it more orchestra and the kind of thing we'd expect from Hurlingham? If you know that would be useful, I think, to just maybe allay some concerns about the type of music and the volume of the bass and so on the evening.
Councillor, so what I can say is that the clientele are going to be mature. You're looking at over 25s onwards. In terms of the brand, it is a long-standing, mature brand. It is not a new sort of startup, got any old hip, TikTok style brand. So yeah, in terms of the clientele, it's towards the older side as opposed to the very young, raucous side.
Yeah.
Chair and Councillor, sorry, I feel like I'm constantly adding, but just to reinforce what Neil is saying, this is not a rave. This is a very established, high-end fashion brand. It's not streetwear, and the guests will be very what's the word? Very normal people. That sounds weird, but very kind of respectable. It's a sort of garden party atmosphere.
Okay.
That's the vibe, and that's why this company have chosen the Hurlingham for exactly
ultimately, Piers, the Hurlingham has been around for a very long time, and you wouldn't want to ruin the reputation of Hurlingham for a one-off stupid event wasn't in keeping with the building.
Yeah. I was asking because I've attended Fashion Week events in various capitals, and sometimes the events, even with the very kind of staid conservative brands, if it's a celebration, it can be quite loud. And so the nature of the music and the DJ or whatever the kind of music arrangements is, is what will affect how loud and disruptive the music is. But from what you're telling me, it won't be too different from what the kind of music that are Hurlingham events that you'd expect at the moment.
Correct, and I think I would just refer back to Richard Vivian's role with Big Sky Acoustics. He will be making sure that we don't exceed any, whether it's the sort of bass or his role is to make sure we don't. We manage that sound level to an acceptable, appropriate level.
Just to explain, Councillor, how it works is that Richard Vivian is instructed by the Hurlingham Club and not the event. So it's up to us. We can pull the plug or tell them to do stuff, and that is our decision. So our priority is ensuring our long-term relationships with local residents and the reputation of a club as opposed to a one-off event.
Okay, understood. Thank you. I don't have any further questions at this stage.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor, Stanton.
Can I just follow up from that? I remember, without kind of naming and shaming, a few years ago, it was London Fashion Week. There was another venue a little further north in the borough that hosted a show with a live artist. They actually managed to create a statutory nuisance, and some neighbours literally had plaster coming from their ceiling. I'm not suggesting whatsoever that is the intention or even the style of performance that you'll be having. It's just the background to my question. And my question really is to Mr. Vivian, which is, what are the parameters that you have been given to ensure that there is no, I say in the broadest possible term, nuisance from noise?
Thank you, Councillor. Maybe if I can start and then hand over to Richard.
Sure.
As you'd expect, I've got a WhatsApp group with my clients here, and there's lots of speculation about the event you're talking about. And if it's the event that we think you're talking about, I'm instructed that it was a completely different event. with a completely different style of music. Let's put it that way. And that was an event I think was open for public, as my understanding, as opposed to invite only. But Richard, do you want to chip in with the second part of the answer?
Neil, good evening, councillors. The event's going to be monitored in accordance with the guidance in the noise control environmental.
Sorry, if I could stop you, Richard. Ironically, you're a little quiet.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, sorry. That's probably a good thing, isn't it? Shall I just speak up a little?
I'll turn the speaker up.
Is that clear? Right. So the event's going to be monitored as we would monitor any event in a public space. So that would be the same kind of we're following the same noise council guidance that we would if this was an event in an urban park or something like that, surrounded by residential properties. We're very keen and been very focused to advise our client on a 2300 finish. That's absolutely essential, and so the whole scheduling of the event will run to a curfew time and a finish there. There is a sound control strategy document. That's at Annex 2, page 10 of your bundle, and that predicts noise levels off-site at the noise-sensitive receptors that we've identified. And I am familiar with the site. I mean, I've done prediction work for previous events on the Hurlingham Club site, so we know where the residents are. We know how sound propagates on and off the site. I've had already had one technical meeting with the PA system provider, so they're responsible, as you would expect, high-end team of professionals providing sound and lighting equipment. This really doesn't sound like the sort of event that you've raised there and your fellow councillor raised. I'm pretty confident, councillors, it won't be some sort of German techno fashion gig thing. I couldn't stand that myself, to be honest. So all the indication is a high-end garden party type event. To be honest, if it was a bit too chaotic, if it got a bit raunchy on that spot for people that are enjoying the live music side, I think it would impact on the other activities that are programmed for the site, from my understanding. They don't really want one corner of the Hurling Club with some riff-raff rave going on. It's all part of this experience of it being a very high-cultured event.
Thank you. And you'll forgive me because I'm doing this from memory. I recall that one of the issues at that event was that when residents were phoning to say, look, it's too loud, they couldn't get through to anybody, or when they did get through to somebody, that person couldn't contact the person who literally had, the volume knob.
Right.
Okay. So I guess this is to Neil or Piers, presumably, in the unlikely event that there were to be a complaint, presumably the residents will know who to contact, and that person will then be able to actually do something should it be established that there is actually something a little bit too loud.
Councillor, yeah, we'll have a phone number available. So we're going to have, actually at the event is going to be the DPS Danny, Piers will be there, Richard will be there, Victoria will be there. So yes, it will be manned.
Lovely, thank you. No more questions from me.
Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. I think you have asked all my questions, so I don't have any to ask. So I'm going to go into summing up. Please, can I ask parties sum up as briefly as possible? In this order. Can I have Neil Gardner, our licensing officer, to sum up?
Thank you, Chair. There's nothing further from me.
Okay. We don't have objectors, so we go straight into the applicant to sum up. You have 3 minutes to sum up.
Thank you, Chair. Just very briefly, the application now before you is substantially different to the application that received those 2 representations from local residents. We have sought to engage. I'm not sure why they're not here today, but could I maybe suggest it's because they are reassured with what we're saying in terms of representations and the amendments made. I accept that it's speculation. It was very difficult to rebut something when we haven't got residents here to rebut. I think I'll leave it there, Chair. I've got another hearing, so it's getting late.
Now, in that case, the committee will now retire and to take its decision in a separate room. You are welcome to remain in the meeting to hear committee's decision. However, this might take some time. If you do not want to wait, a summary decision will be published on Council's website tomorrow morning. Can I ask members to mute their phone and join me in the next room?
Can I ask this one not before time so I can get a cup of tea?
Yeah, please. Yeah, you have time to have your tea. Please go on.
Yeah. I'll make my tea. Thank you very much. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. Okay, sorry. Thank you. The summary decision of licensing subcommittee, 24th of the committee, the Hollingham Club, Langard Gardens, London, SW6 3PR, the premises. The committee has considered an application for grant of a timed premises license under the Licensing Act 2003 for the performance of live and recorded music, performance of a play, exhibition of films, performance of dance, and sale of alcohol only. In summary, the committee have considered, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of this case and the promotion of four licensing objective to: 1, grant the application for time limited on 1 day only on 16th June 2026 as follows: performance of play, indoor and outdoor, 1600 hours to 2300 hours. Exhibition of films, indoors and outdoor, 1600 to 2300. Playing of live music, indoors and outdoors, 16 hours to 23 hours. Playing of recorded music, indoors and outdoors, 1600 to 2300. Performance of dance, indoors and outdoors, 1600 to 2300. Supply of alcohol on sale only, 1600 to 2300. 2, the hours the premises is open on 16th June 2023 are as follows: 1600 hours to 2330 hours. The license is subject to any mandatory conditions. The license is subject to the condition proposed by the applicant. This license becomes operational within immediate effect. If problems are experienced, then an application for review of the premises license can be made. A copy of this committee's full decision, including its reasons and the full text of the conditions added to the license, will be sent to the parties forthwith. If the applicant is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, colleagues. Good evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much, Chair and councillors.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
We admit the license holder.
Oh, sorry. It. Okay.
I think we lost the solicitor acting on behalf of the premises license holder.
Okay, okay, yeah. Okay. Are we ready?
Yes, Chair. The applicant is here and the license holder is here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay. Welcome to tonight's license subcommittee meeting. My name is Councillor Macy Ume. I'll be chairing tonight's meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live on Council's YouTube channel. If I lose connection and cannot reconnect, Councillor Borakwan will take over for me. I would like to remind all participants few housekeeping points. Please keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. Please keep your camera turned on when you speak at the hearing. Please note that the chat function has been disabled. If parties wish to add any additional information other than the allocated time, they must use raise hand function. I also ask members to keep their questions and comments brief to the point. I now move to agenda. I now move to agenda 1. Apologies, none was received. Declaration of interest. Do members have declaration of interest? No. Item 3, pick and save 29 Gold Oak Road, London, West 12, 8QQ. I would like to ask everyone participating to introduce yourself as I call on you. We should have with us Doug Love, Trading Standard.
Good evening, Chair.
Good evening. We have Neil Gardner and Interim Licensing Officer. We have Gata, and we have Debbie. We have licensees. We have Pierre Warner, TLT Solicitor. Is he here? No. And we have Mr. Chandeldeep Singh. Yeah, okay.
Yes, I'm here.
Presenters. No relevant presentation have been received. Procedure. In addition to the main agenda, supplementary agenda A was published on 18th February, and supplementary agenda B was published on 23rd of February 2026. The subcommittee noted the following: that the applicant has written withdrawn the review application, that relevant representations has been made by responsible authority or interested party, and that the arrangement has been reached between the parties to add one additional condition to the existing licensing and to amend condition 17 attached to the existing license by way of a minor variation as follows. Additional conditions. The DPS of or manager should ensure that when written inquiries are received from the responsible authorities, that an initial response is made within 5 working days of the original inquiry, with a substantive response within an agreed time frame as follows. The following condition is to be amended. Section 17, strong beer and cider above 5.5 ABV shall not be displayed or sold, so that it now reads as follows. Section 17, strong beer and cider above 5.5 ABV shall not be displayed or sold, with exception of craft beers, craft ciders, crafts in the context of the condition to refer to products using premium ingredients, brewed in small batches using traditional brewing techniques as opposed to mass-produced products. All other hours, activity, and conditions are to remain unchanged. Considering all the above, the subcommittee has decided to close the hearing without making any determination. So I would like to thank everyone for attending or watching. A record of proceeding will be published on Council's website tomorrow. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.